Hey friends, Ash here. Hope that you're doing well. Today I've got a This Week in Fragrance video for you, but a little bit different than usual because typically with a This Week in Fragrance video, I'll tell you guys about upcoming new fragrance releases. I'll let you know the note breakdown, the write-up from the brand, I'll have pictures of the presentation of the bottle and everything, and I'll let you know how I think the fragrance might end up smelling. I'll let you know where the fragrance, in my opinion, falls underneath that particular brand or fragrance lineup, and I'll let you know whether or not I'm actually looking forward to it or not. Usually I am, but sometimes not a lot.
I'm upset!
Today though, we're doing something a little bit different because I'm going to be covering fragrances that are rumored. Fragrances that have not officially been announced yet, but there's a lot of smoke behind some of these to the point that I feel like it's inevitable that sometime soon they're going to be officially announced. So again, a lot of these are just rumors, but really strong rumors.
I love rumors.
But yeah, these are some upcoming potential fragrances to look out for this year, and I'll share what I can, what I know, which frankly is not much. But at least you'll have a good idea of some of the big releases that could be coming down the pipeline very soon. And who knows, maybe some of these might end up being the best fragrances of next year. All right, the first fragrance that is rumored is a new Beau flanker. And this one actually already has some pictures that are starting to circulate online. And the first time that I started hearing about this one was actually back in November. So kind of mid-November. It is Paul Gaultier's Beau Flower Edition. And actually the first time that I heard about it, I was like, are you sure? Beau Flower Edition. Okay. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna smell bad, and I'm not saying that having a men's fragrance with florals is a bad idea. It's just on the hierarchy of things I would expect a Beau flanker to be going after in terms of how the fragrance is styled, flowers probably wouldn't be in my top 3. So of course with the Beau line, you have the original Beau Eau de Toilette, well, the original of the new version of Beau. But just to simplify, we'll say Beau Eau de Toilette, the original edition, then Beau Le Parfum, and of course, this year's Paradise Garden. All 3 of those fragrances, more on the sweet side of things, with a tropical kind of feel to them. Overall fresh, but like I said, very sweet, kind of a creamy aspect to it. Paradise Garden has more of a green vibe, also has fig in there along with the coconut, and that one smells great. One of my favorite releases of the year. Really nice fragrance for spring and summertime. Beau Le Parfum might be my overall favorite between that one and Paradise Garden most of the time. It depends on the day when you catch me. But that one's gonna be a little bit heavier, a little bit bolder, better for fall and winter time, but you could wear it during spring as well. And the original Beau Eau de Toilette kind of overlaps a little bit with Paradise Garden as far as when you'd wear it. Now, again, as of this video, don't have a note breakdown or anything like that, just the pictures that have popped up. And again, this is what I've been hearing about for the past month or so. A little over a month, actually. But yeah, Beau Flower Edition, I would assume is going to make that a focal point of the scent. So on the one hand, you could say, I wonder if that's really gonna work. That doesn't seem like the safest thing to do. But then on the other hand, if it does something really unique, it could be something where they're taking a chance with a fragrance line that people are hyped about. And who knows, maybe it ends up standing out even more than the other Beau fragrances already do. So there's that one, Beau Flower Edition, but that's actually not the only Paul Gaultier that's being rumored right now. We'll talk about that one in a second, though. Let's hop to another brand, and that is Givenchy with Gentleman's Society Ombre. So this is another one where I've already seen people with pictures of the presentation, of the bottle, of the box with the name and everything on there. And this is another one that's been rumored for a little over a month now. And this one makes sense to me because obviously right now, Givenchy with the Gentleman line is concentrating on society, right? They've moved away from the original Gentleman Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Reserve Privé, Eau de Toilette Intense, Boisé, all those fragrances. And now they have Society and Society Extreme. So really, it looks like they have one of 2 ways to go to keep fleshing out that line, which is 1, just keep tacking names on the end of Society. So for example, they already have Society Extreme, Society Parfum, right? Society Absolu, etc., etc. Or they could go the other route, which is to put on notes at the end of society. Maybe even do a mix of both, right? Like with Stronger With You. Got Stronger With You Leather, Stronger With You Tobacco, Stronger With You Oud, but also have Stronger With You Absolutely, and the new Stronger With You Parfum coming out. So yeah, maybe do a bit of both. With this one, again, don't really have any notes or anything like that at this point, other than I'm assuming it's gonna have amber. Just a little bit of an educated guess there. Don't hold me to it, I'm just saying, But I would expect this one is gonna get announced really soon, because it would be a bit of a miss, at least in my opinion, if you're gonna come out with an amber-based flanker and you have it come out in like spring or summer. Probably not the best time, right? Winter, a little bit of a better time. So you would assume it's going to be announced really soon, come out at the beginning of next year. And without being able to see the notes or anything, this is a shot in the dark, but my assumption is with it being an amber flanker, that it's going to be a deeper, sweeter take on that society DNA, which could be fantastic because for most people, their favorite gentleman flankers from the original gentleman line. And again, this is like going back to Le Beau. I know there's older gentleman fragrances, but for sake of simplicity, so we know which ones we're talking about the more modern line of gentlemen when I say that. But going back to that, a lot of people's favorites in that gentleman line are Reserve Privé or the Eau de Parfum, so those deeper, sweeter ones. All right, next up is a fragrance flanker from Carolina Herrera, and the way that this one came to be rumored about, or have rumors about it, that makes more sense, right? To be rumored about, what? Was actually Carolina Herrera themselves. Yeah, so on the Carolina Herrera website, they had it for a little bit of time where it showed in the header that 212 VIP Elixir was a fragrance that you could get from Carolina Herrera. The thing with that is, that doesn't exist. Or at least officially as a released fragrance right now. So I guess on the one hand, you could say, well, maybe somebody at Carolina Herrera just completely screwed up and accidentally made a page for this and blibbity blobbity blah, but none of it's real. Or on the other hand, you could say somebody maybe jumped the gun and accidentally posted something a little bit too early and then removed it. Now I know that's not gonna get so many people hyped because at this point, 212 VIP, that's not the biggest line out there for Carolina Herrera, which is kind of unfortunate because a lot of 212 and 212 VIP fragrances and flankers were really good. But most of the time when people think Carolina Herrera nowadays, they think bad boy, right? Or to a lesser extent, those limited edition CH Men fragrances that they put out pretty much every year, which again, some of those are actually really good too. But I just wanted to let you guys know 212 VIP Elixir looks like that's probably going to be a thing coming out very soon, according to Carolina Herrera updating it on their own website and then taking it down. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait and see as far as the note breakdown goes with all of these fragrances, but there it is. And also, just to put it out there, typically iFragrance Official is gonna be the first place that breaks stuff when it's actually announced. So like when the notes are out there, the media pictures, the write-up from the brand, all that stuff. And I'll have a link in the description to their website so you can check them out in case you want to stop in from time to time or whatever and keep up with fragrances as they're announced. Next up is Christian Dior. And to be fair here, there's not as much concrete info, I feel like, for the Dior stuff versus everything else. But the rumors out there are of a new Elixir this year. So that would be either Fahrenheit Elixir or Dior Homme Elixir. And I put a little bit of stock into this one because before the new Sauvage was officially announced, I didn't know that it was gonna be alcohol-free, all that stuff, but there were rumors about a new Sauvage coming last year and that it was gonna be a fresher Sauvage, like that it was gonna be the freshest one. And so when they announced the new one, it was like, oh, okay, I guess, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like that's what was being rumored behind the scenes and everything. People on groups talking about it, stuff like that, and there it was. Again, I didn't know it was gonna be alcohol-free. I didn't know it was gonna be a complete departure for the most part from the Sauvage DNA, but still, if those rumors were going around, you know, it's gonna be fresh, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, and then it comes out as what it was, it makes sense. And so now it's looking like, at least according to the rumors, that the new release is gonna be an Elixir. Again, I just don't know if it's gonna be Dior Homme, Dior Fahrenheit. My guesstimation, based off of what they've been doing here lately, is that it would be a Dior Homme. Like that would make more sense to me because they've been concentrating, or paying more attention, I should say, to the Dior Homme line versus Fahrenheit. Although to be fair, I would like one of each, please, thank you. And I do think that Fahrenheit should get some more love. Like, can we get some new Fahrenheit out there? That would be sick, but we'll see. But that's not all. There's also rumors going around that Dior Homme Parfum is going to be getting the new bottle treatment. So with a new look of the bottle, potentially different notes. Not exactly 100% sure on that, whether it's going to be a change, a reworking, or just a rebottling. Part of me feels like it might make more sense for what they've been doing if they did change the notes and change the fragrance itself. I'm not saying that's what I want to happen. I'm just saying with, you know, the new Dior Homme Sport, the new Dior Homme 2020, that if they're gonna be coming out with something that maybe they do change it up, but who knows? Maybe they leave it alone. But yeah, definitely some stuff going on with Dior right now, and that's probably going to be announced, I would imagine, in the not too distant future. And then the last rumor is once again another Paul Gaultier, and it is a new Le Male flanker. And this one does have pictures floating around, kind of like the Le Beau Flower Edition one does. And it's Le Male Elixir Absolu. Like when you just can't get enough elixir, you got to do yourself a flanker of that elixir. That's all I'm saying. And with the popularity of Le Male Elixir, which I love, I think that is an amazing release. But with the popularity of that one, I would imagine, should this come out, you know, in the next couple months or something before we hit spring, summer, that it could end up being like one of the biggest releases of the year right at the beginning of the year, which is kind of what happened with Paradise Garden. It does look like Flower Edition, Le Beau Flower Edition, is a little bit further ahead because that one is like making its way out to more places where you're starting to see it pop up on websites and stuff like that, as far as, again, pictures of it and everything. Le Male Elixir Absolu, not so much. I actually haven't even seen a picture of the bottle of that one, to be fair. Just the presentation, like the can presentation and all that. But same deal, it's the same people that are like, hey, this is coming out, also this is coming out. And I guess it makes a bit of sense for Paul Gaultier to like nail those fragrances right now, or put some more stuff out on them, because it's like strike while the iron is hot kind of deal. Even though Le Male Elixir has been out, it's obviously extremely popular, both within the fragrance community, the fragrance world, and also just people in general. And that's also reflected in how many different clone fragrances of Le Male Elixir are coming out right now. Because I think just in the past like couple months, there's been at least 3, maybe 4 different clones of that fragrance that have dropped. Like they all hit at the same time, basically. So yeah, makes sense. And I would assume that if this does come to fruition and Le Male Elixir Absolu does come out here in the not too distant future, I would assume anyway it's the not too distant future, because if they already have presentations of it that are kind of floating around in different people's hands, then I can't imagine that they're gonna sit back and wait for like, you know, 9 months to release it next year in like September or something, right? So that's why I'm assuming it's gonna come out earlier next year. But anyway, I would assume with that name, with that flanker name, that it's going to possibly be an even sweeter take on Le Male Elixir. Or they could go just like full on rich and super decadent and not ramp up the sweetness as much. So I guess they could approach it that way as well. Unfortunately, nothing more to share other than that. And I would say, based off of what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've read, the ones that I am maybe less sure on, if you wanna like categorize these, is the Carolina Herrera, because that was just kind of a website thing and it was there and then not there. So it seems like there would be something cooking there, otherwise why do it, right? And then the Dior stuff, I'm not sure, like I said, if we're talking a new Fahrenheit, if we're talking a new Dior Homme, one of each, and I'm not sure what is gonna go on with Dior Homme Parfum as far as, is it gonna be changed? Is it not gonna be changed? Is it just the presentation style that's gonna change, or is the fragrance itself gonna change? Like, there's a change coming, it's just how much is the change? And then the Gentleman, the Le Beau, I'm like fully on board that stuff is happening very, very soon. And then the Le Male Elixir Absolu is like probably just underneath those, kind of if you were gonna rank out my confidence level. But realistically, all of them could happen, and I would actually be surprised if they didn't, because this is information, again, that's matriculating around, and it's one of those things where I've seen this happen dozens of times. You know, the bottles start getting leaked, the presentations start getting leaked. The same people that leak it like every time are the ones telling you, hey, this is coming, and they've never been wrong before, so it's like, oh, okay, got it. There we go, guys, some stuff to look forward to. Thank you so much for hanging with me. As these do get get properly announced, which I'm assuming is probably gonna start happening just after the beginning of the new year based off of how it's happened in years past. I'll do videos with updated note breakdowns, presentations, the whole deal, because I don't know any notes other than one's got flowers because it's called Flower Edition, and one's gotta have amber because it's called Ombre. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.